Today I'm going to be tying a spider soft hackle fly. These are some of my favorites because you can use just about any thread color, any webby feather. Today I'm going to be using a Claret thread. This is actually a silk thread. It's a pretty thin one. I really like the color. Might be just a little bit longer than I want the body of my fly, so I'll trim it a little bit. Try to not have to trim the thread when I tie it on. Every once in a while I do. Just stripped off the back of the feather I'm going to be using. This is just a feather from a chicken wing. I like to pair the darker feather with this dark Claret thread. So when I tie this on, I'm going to be wanting to spin it around the hook like this. So I'm going to clear off the hook side of the feather. First I'm going to find my tip. Once I have about what I want, I'm going to take off that part of the feather. So now when I spin it, it's going to be on the outside like that. So go ahead and start tying in my feather. Take about 3 wraps and get it tied on there. I'm going to come in and trim this off. I leave about the body's length. That gives the body a little bit more bulk. Now after I have that feather tied in, I come right in with my ribbing. This is a silver oval tinsel that I'm using. I just try to catch the very tip of it with my first turn, and then wrap my way back to the however long I want the body of my fly. I really like soft hackles. They're so versatile. There's a lot of different ways you can tie them. You can use just about any color. You can use feathers from just about any bird. So if you have a lot of feathers that you don't know what to do with, this is one of the things you can do. I like to take the body to about the tip of the hook on this hook. This is actually a merger hook that I'm tying on, a barbless merger. So once I get to the back of where I want the body, I just wrap back forwards with touching turns again. This helps fill in any little gaps I have. Gives a little bit more density to the fly and a little bit stronger of a fly. When I get about to where I tied in the ribbing, stop. I'll start wrapping my ribbing at this point. I try to get somewhere between 3 or 4 wraps in. Maybe been a little bit more, but I'll tie off my oval tinsel with a couple wraps and trim it off. Then I use just a little bit of dubbing. I'm going to be using hares dubbing. I'm using a dark hares ear. Again, this pattern for me is one of my darker spiders. Just put a little bit on the thread there. Move it up. Keep my hackles out of the way. And just wrap it on. This helps the fly push a little bit more water, and it also helps keep the hackle out from the hook shank in the water. At this point I wrap my hackle Some people just do 2 to 3 turns on this, depending on how sparse they want it. I like mine a little bit thicker. I think I usually do 4 or 5 turns. You can do whatever you want. It starts looking about how you want it. Hold the feather and then start working your thread back and forth through the hackle. It keeps you from tying the hackle down or moving them too much. They'll move a little bit. Usually just don't worry about it too much. The fish don't really care. Then when I've done a couple wraps close to the eye, I'll come in, trim this off, stroke my hackles back, take a couple more turns to get everything tied down. Then I just need to tie it off. Do my whip finishes with my hand. It's easier for me than trying to figure out a tool. And it's less expensive too. And I just apply a little bit of head cement. I'm using Sally Henson's Hard as Wraps. It's in a blue bottle. I find that it works really well. It's really strong. I've been really enjoying it. When it starts to thicken up, I've been using it to coat stuff where I want a little bit of bulk, like you would with a thick head cement. Comes pretty thin. I like to clean out the eye of my hook then with a extra piece of peacock curl that I just have lying around. That's the fly.